The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 8th day of September, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sancha Durham, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. First off, did you cry yesterday?
I didn't. I did not cry. I think I was so over summer that I was just like, go, 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 get out of the car, kick me. I'm just shaking.
All right. Nobody would have believed that. So, tell me what was first day? And hold on. Did he come home with a white shirt, a brown shirt that used to be white, and school shoes that looked new before he went and looked like they'd done a year?
Okay, so it was my son's first day of school yesterday. He's at Summersville. And for him, he's going into P2, which was really big. He's been in children's house from 3 years old to 6 till now. And that's like the baby. So he's going up in the world, the lower primary. So he was very excited yesterday. Nervous, though. He's gotten into this thing where he gets really nervous. And it's like, Mommy, can you come with me? And I'm like, you're okay. So we got, Jesse and I, his dad and I, we went, took pictures and all of that. He went off. So I was worried about him all day. I did not cry. But when I picked him up, Jamal, this is the best thing. And mind you, I did a lot of back and forward of what class he was going to be in. And I was worried about a few things. He is a starfish. And I picked him up from school. And I said, Maddox, how do you feel about your new class? Exact words, Jamal. Mommy, I felt as if like I ate 100 ice creams. It's so exciting and I love it so much.
I love it. I
was like, oh my God, this is how I hope every kid feels like this going to school.
I love it. I love it. You know,
I'm happy.
Look, first day hurdles a lot, not just on the children, but also the parents, folks. So we love to hear it. Larry was talking about you yesterday morning, saying, "Oh, you guys are probably crying," and all. I was like, "No, babe, not Santa." You know me. I always have you all back. But
Yeah, I expected to cry. I had a few minutes where I was just like, okay, get it together.
Folks, what it is, she knows the Daily Hour audience always watching her, right? So she knows, click, you all like paparazzi when you're ready. But we're so happy that Maddox enjoyed his first day. I meant to call my niece. She also is at Summersfield to see how her first day was. But she told me the night before, that summer, she said, Sancha, summer was too short. She's not ready to go back. She said, summer was too short. But I said, well, if you do well between now and Christmas, then we got to go to Disney World. So she's got some work to do between now. Yeah, she's got some work to do. Now, I don't know how we're going to get her to Disney World. Anyone Daily Hour audience want to, donate towards a little trip or something, let me know. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Alexis Bean of the Big Girl Panties Podcast.
I'm excited about this one.
I thought you would be. I thought you would really.
I went and did my research, and listen, they did a few things on their YouTube channel that had me in tears. I was like, oh my God.
Much, folks. But but no, I think she has a fan club out there, and quite a few people had been telling us to reach out to have her on. So it should be a great conversation. well-spoken person, and I just from our backstage engagement, I think we're in for a great conversation. The Daily Play is a name that place. Well, Sancha, speaking about Daily Play, Larry showed up yesterday. I mean, you started something with the music thing and Alicia Keys that week. Then Sherry got it quickly last week. Dude wouldn't even let me. You know, you started this thing where I don't even get to play the music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, yeah, you all are showing up. So that said, I said to him yesterday, I'm just gonna make it more difficult. You guys are, you guys are, no.
Let me have something.
My music has got to start. You guys, the audience wants to hear the music. Audience, don't you want to hear the music? Thank you.
No, they're proud of us.
They want to hear the music. But Sandra, we're gonna have a conversation today.
Jamal, I can't believe you did what you did to me just now.
What'd I do?
You sent me something, and then you was like, gotta go. So when we came on, I'm here like this, like, what?
Yeah. Well, folks, there's a WhatsApp going around this morning, what she's speaking about. And I just assumed everyone got it because I must have received it about 6 times between last night and today. And, I don't want to really get into that as much, because it is a WhatsApp message. But this has been talked about. But it does surround the leadership of Bermuda. It does surround the leadership of Bermuda. But I want to go to our friends at Bernie's because the question of the morning should concern all of us. And the question of the morning is going to surround this right here. I'm going to bring up our friends from Bernie's, right? Our friends over at Bernie's. This is a story from 2016. And I really, 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 really want Bermudians to understand what I'm about to show you. This says, Bert elected new leader Robin as deputy. November 7th, 2016. I just want to highlight this part right here, Sancha. David Bert has been elected as the new PLP leader and Walter Robin has been elected as the new deputy leader. Mr. Bert defeated veteran MP Dennis Lister by a margin of 39-35 to win the leadership position. Sancha, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's about 60-something thousand Bermudians, right?
Yeah.
Or at least people in Bermuda. Now, I don't know how many voters there are in Bermuda, but what I can say is 39 people don't represent the interest of the majority. What's the point that I'm making here, folks, this morning? 39 people
have decided
for David Bert to be the leader of the PLP, which in turn meant when they won the election, not because of David Bert, but because of the history, because of the work that your ancestors and grandparents and families put into that party. 39 people decided the fate of leadership for Bermuda. 39 people. But folks, we call this a democracy. So what is the question of the morning? Should we revisit how our premier is chosen? Now, the WhatsApp message that Sancho was referring to basically speaks to rumors about this current premier and the things that he's doing to maintain leadership.
That was going to be my question. Is any of this true?
Well, that's why I don't really get into it as much. But it is rumored that he's doing this. At the end of the day, I think the bigger question should be, and here's what gets me. If we ask this question today, and the only response from the Chris Famouses of the world and the others who are all gung-ho party line, if the only response is, well, you didn't have a problem with it when the other guys do it, or this is how the other guys do choose their leaders, you're actually admitting this is a problem because you're trying to justify it, but based on what the others do. I don't believe this party was built for that. This party was built to provide better, to do things differently, right? So question again, folks. Should we revisit how our premier is chosen? Let me make this bigger because I'm not quite sure you all understand. 39 people. 39 people. You see it, right, Sandra? It's big enough.
Yes.
39 people, folks, chose David Burt to be the leader of the PLP. 39.
And that's like the smallest margin, though, 39 to 35.
And then, sorry, Sandra, thank you. By only 4 votes. It wasn't a mandate. 4 votes.
It's going to be very interesting this time around. I know how the country's feeling. How is the party feeling? And I mean that's a big question. And I think that we hear whispers, but it's never outright. This is how everyone's feeling. So it'll be.
That's a good question because I remember. Let's be honest, Dr. Ewart Brown. The country did not like him at periods. I mean, remember you had marches down at cabinet. I mean, the Uyghur situation, things blew up. But I remember being in Alaska Hole Center, and the party didn't feel the same way. There were about a few people in there that felt that he needed to go. But when I say few, very little. With this, I'm not in Alaska Hall, but you don't need to be to see a woman standing up with a sign at the Labor Day, right, function outside of BIU. You ain't really see that with Ewart Brown PLP people doing that.
But felt no way. You were sitting right next to that. I was like, what?
I'm about to bring Maya in and challenge something that she just said. I'm gonna let her say it before I kind of challenge her. We're about to have an argument. I'm gonna bring Maya in.
Okay.
Good morning, Maya. How you doing? You're on mute.
Morning.
So just read what you said backstage real quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. I said it's because we are UK territory, we follow the Westminster system. So this isn't necessarily new how the parties pick their premier. And I think also the Bermuda Youth Connect actually mentioned it yesterday on their story because they're looking up to gear up to elections. And basically the Westminster democracy is a system in which the government, also known as the responsible government and parliament government, in which people do not elect their government, but leave it to the elected legislature to install, supervise, and remove the government. So Bermudians, we pick our premier. The parties.
Everything you said is part of the problem. We're not talking about surface level stuff here. That PLP, at least when I was in the halls of Alaska Hall, and most of the public should know this, that one of the reasons they exist is to push this country towards independence. So everything you just said basically says, Bermudians, when we're asking the question, should we revisit how our premier is chosen, is deeper than the Westminster system. What we love to do is blame Mother England with conscription. I mean, people say, oh, well, it's British, this is British. No, it's not. Bermuda government had the right to do what they had to do, which they eventually did. And with this, the Bermuda government, the PLP, and this leads to the independence conversation, has the opportunity to lead us to independence. There's a reason why we're still in this Westminster system, 19 years after having not consecutively, but after 19 years of PLP government. And the reason we're still here is because the ideal space for them is not to move away from Britain and jeopardize what they're gaining. The idea is to grab power, maintain power by any means necessary. And if you think they push towards independence and the people want independence, that their jobs will be as comfy, they wouldn't be. Their only goal in politics was to replace the white man, have what the white man had. That means the big house with the pool, the little black Labrador dog, right? This was their aim. It was never about people or moving to what. That's why I continue to say on this show that this political party has been hijacked. It's been hijacked by people who saw an opportunity for a career because they couldn't develop a career based on the skills or lack thereof they had. So while this may be true, this is surface level. This is deeper than that. So when we ask the question, should we revisit it? We have to go deeper than just saying, oh, Westminster system. We have to go with all those people, crazy or not, you all call them whatever names you want, the Craig Lubers of the world, who have been trying to say we need to revisit our governance system. The UK is not, you think the UK cares about Bermuda? They don't. But as long as you're under British rule, as shown with that thing you mentioned yesterday, what is it, Royal Assent? That's how you pronounce it? Assent? With the cannabis thing? Yeah, they're gonna tell you what you can and can't do. But we can't use the UK as an excuse. We can't. We are adults. The PLP is the elected government per se, but it's not a democracy for Bermuda. When you can look at this and see that this is benefiting someone like David Burt, they're not going to want to move there. And I can't blame the people for not wanting to go there. Think deep, folks. Maya, you want to stay on or are you going backstage?
I'll go backstage. I'm just here to spread the information.
All right. So let's bring in, we've got some comments, Sancha.
Yes.
Please.
Absolutely needs to be revisited, especially when we have been in a state of turmoil for quite some time. Blinders need to come off. 39 is sad and definitely doesn't make up Bermuda's people.
Yeah. But again, as Maya said, to do that, well, she didn't say this, folks. She didn't say this. I'm taking this from her comment. To do what you're suggesting, y'all need to go independent. Like this is the system we have right now. And this government, at the end of the day, they're not going to move into a space that is going to make them uncomfortable. They'll feel threatened in an independent Bermuda. They're not going to feel as secure financially.
Mm-hmm.
Is this IFIS says, I think the issue you're having is you're comparing the US system versus Westminster system style, selecting country leadership, the only way to fix. That's my point. That's my overall point. But again, people have to think deeper. It's deeper than the surface. But we can't keep saying, sir, that this is a democratic system. No, there's nothing democratic about the Westminster system, at least my understanding of democracy. Renee Shallon Simmons says it's not democratic at all, but the party's constitution, which is ridiculous and may have worked previously, but needs to be revised. The party delegates elect the leader, but we, the people, need to participate. Their explanation is if you want to vote within the party, join the party, but not for me with that crew of representatives. Well, I say call their bluff. I say, honestly, Sancho, I don't know about you, but I would encourage Bermudians to call their bluff. Call their bluff. If they're saying, well, if you want to say, join the party, join the party. I say call the PLP's bluff. You know, people used to do, you ever watched American Idol?
Yeah.
Okay, so there used to be these chat groups online about American Idol, right? And these chat groups, they would vote to, get together to vote for the worst person on the show to keep the bad person on. And the show. Folks, fight fire, fire. They're calling your bluff. For Chris Famous on social media every day. Oh, well, if you want to make it, join. They won't know what hit them. Test them.
We should all go and join.
Go and join. Start getting those PLP emails. Start showing up to their meetings. I tell you what, they'll change their rules yet again because it's not about you. This is why they would not move toward independence, because they believe that it weakens who they are and what they're there to do. They're not going to do it. But the question, should we revisit how our premier is chosen? Yeah, but you all are scared of independence. You're afraid of it. I don't know, Sancha. I don't know. I just, yeah. And didn't the UK just announce a new leader this week? A lady, I don't follow UK politics like that, but I believe they announced a new leader this week. Similar situation, obviously, because it's their system that Bermuda follows. Now, Sam Cat Place says regarding independence, ain't gonna lie, I am scared of
Oh
independence.
my God. Sam Cat Place read my mind. I'm
I,
terrified of independence.
but I think, I truly believe Bermudians who are afraid of independence have every right to be. Could you imagine going independent under an incompetent government that like the one that Bermuda has right now?
Yeah. This is why every time somebody, screams independence, I'm like, not right now.
I think I do believe that independence is in the best interest of every nation. I do. I do believe that every nation should be in charge of their own fate. I believe it. I don't believe that, I mean, Bermuda's self-governing, right? I don't believe much would change if Bermuda were independent. But I understand, I'm not going to be disrespectful and disregard the fear, because I indeed understand the fear that people have going independent. I mean, back in
Do you
1990,
think,
go ahead.
even like when we talk about maneuvering through COVID and all of that, you think we would have maneuvered through the way that we did if we were independent?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. When Hurricane Fabian, it was, I believe Hurricane Fabian hit, versus when the two hurricanes hit in 2014, and Hurricane Fabian, the PLP was in power, and the UK came and wanted to give aid. The PLP government said, no, we're good. We'll do it ourselves. You had the ships offshore ready to come and assist. In 2014 on the OBA, obviously OBA welcomed them there. I think the way that the PLP handled it was saying, no, we got this. We can take care of our own. So I do think that there is some self-determination there when I guess they feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I think there's self-determination. I just understand the fear because, Sandra, how can we trust? Truthfully, let's be honest. How can we trust this government?
I don't.
Exactly. And I get it. I get it.
I don't. So I'm good on the independent thing.
I would love to see Bermuda independent, but under this regime, they can't get it right simply where they are right now. Now, that who's to say? They may be great at independence. I don't know. Rick Olsen says nothing will change until we hit rock bottom. So say it. Are we not at rock bottom?
I was just going to say, I feel like we're there.
I mean, how much worse does it have to get? Traveling Trotty says, are people afraid of independence or lack of information? I think it's both. I mean, I think there are well-informed people when it comes to independence who are still afraid. I mean, I understand the fear. I understand it. Tamara Richardson says, it's hard to imagine independence with a government that benefits so much from dependence. With stronger, more capable leadership, independence wouldn't be scary. That's my point.
That's it.
That's my point there. Like, our goal should always be independence, but at the end of the day, this government relies on dependency. They sell dependency. Like, they want people. Oh, shucks, we're getting in trouble with Maya. We're going over. We got to bring Maya in, folks. You all trying to get us in trouble this morning. Let's bring. Time for the news break, and we'll obviously have more on this. But what I guess the point of the question this morning, folks, is we need to revisit how we choose our leader, and to do that, we need to understand that both parties are taking advantage of a system that one party was vehemently against. It was built to go against it. Did you all see a clip we shared not long ago from the late Freddie Wade, and I believe it was Arthur Hudson, about the Westminster system? The information's all available on the internet. But hey, it's a hijacked PLP these days. Let's go for it to the news break. Hey,
Morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy, and I'm Maya Palacio. Let's get to the news, guys.
What you got for us, Maya? What you got at the top of the story?
Top of the story, actually, today, several packages containing cocaine and $16,000 in cash were seized in a Hamilton Parish residence on Wednesday, the 31st of August.
So hold on. So I don't know if you've seen them, Sancha, but this seems to be happening every week, right? And sometimes I think we're confused at whether it's the same story or not. Can you confirm that this has been, at least since August, something that's almost weekly? And have the police confirmed that this is a crackdown, or why they're finding out more? Or, I mean, What have they? What are they saying?
Well, I can't confirm that this is actually new. I remember I was actually going to mention the last story I did about a seizure and a collection of either cannabis or money was in a Smith's residence, and now this
Mhm.
one's in a Hamilton Parish residence. Yes, these reports do come to us a little later than when they actually do happen, so they might be doing additional research or information before they actually get it to the media itself. So this came into my reports last night.
But
Mhm.
it seems like it's a overall crackdown. Like, you know
Yeah.
how they did, remember what they did Operation Clean Sweep?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Remember that? It's
Yeah.
almost like a new operation that's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
It seems
Definitely
like.
getting a lot more warrants, and they have definitely been cracking down on this a lot more. I feel like we're going to continue to hear more about these type of
Mhm.
busts in SA because they are starting to happen more frequently. So I feel like things are dismantling through that. And the police
Clean it up
actually did confirm that a member of HM Customs Bermuda has been arrested in relation to the matter as well.
again. I don't mean to say it like that, but I swear one of the cases recently, one was arrested. I don't. Okay, cool. Thanks, Maya. It's woo.
Yeah.
Again, it's like repeat.
I think the last one, it was like a bunch of different, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was another customs officer. I don't, yeah, different story.
Yeah. That's concerning.
Similar situation.
Well, hey, cleaning up our streets. What else you got for us, Maya? What's going on? What's going on?
Well, over the Labor Day long weekend, actually 39 arrests were made during that weekend. Despite the public being told about the sobriety checkpoints, there was still a lot of them being held, and 8 individuals were arrested while driving under the influence or with drugs or alcohol.
We've got to do better, but I wonder if those are the same 39 people that voted for David Burt. Hold on. I gotta give myself up for that. Give me.
He is so childish.
Go ahead. But no, seriously, we got to do better, folks. That's too many.
You know what? I don't typically go out. Since Maddox in the house, and I did go out over. I don't know, last week before that, I went out, and I don't drink anymore, right? So when I'm there, I'm watching the alcohol, and I'm like, whoa, this person's actually gonna drive afterwards. We have this mentality that I guess we've been doing it for so long, but it has to change.
Yeah,
it has to change.
I agree, and I will share Maya's message over and over and over. It's not just a weekend message; it's a life message. So, folks, we've got to do better. We've got to do better. Stop. Yeah. What else you got for us, Maya? Any good news in there?
There is one bit of good news in there. Actually, the Tech Summit in Bermuda is coming back to have the award of the Innovation Trailblazer Award coming up, and we'll be holding a Tech Summit between October 26th to 28th. So that's kind of exciting news, having that back in Bermuda.
Bermuda's and Silicon Valley type stuff going on. We rate it. Alrighty. And is there a hurricane in Bermuda this morning? Like, what's going on?
Yes, I was going to say, let's quickly get to the hurricane update. We have an update that came in actually from Michelle Pitcher. So let's get to that right now.
Alrighty.
We continue to monitor Earl as it's going to be intensifying as it's passing Bermuda. Right now, it's forecast to pass Bermuda as a Category 3 hurricane and will likely intensify to a Category 4 once it passes our area. We expect the tropical storm force winds to arrive on island early Thursday evening, about 7 or 8 p.m. The height of the winds are expected to be up to 40 to 50 knots with gusts to 60 knots at the moment, and that's going to be right around the closest point of approach time. So with the closest point of approach being midnight, we expect a couple hours before and a couple hours after that we could possibly have the strongest winds. We do have a tropical storm warning valid at this time. Just keep up with the latest forecast at weather.bm because, again, any little changes to the forecast by the National Hurricane Center could mean some significant changes to our local conditions.
And with that being said, the minister actually is supposed to have a meeting around 8:45 a.m. this morning. So there's going to be another update about Hurricane Earl, but we should expect some winds and some force winds tonight.
Yeah, take it seriously, folks. There was a story on the front page of someone rescuing people at one of the beaches or something. Take it seriously, honestly. It's nothing to play with. Mother Nature is nothing to play with. I know Bermudians for years. Oh, we love hurricanes. We welcome them. As I said yesterday with Larry, I don't think we understand. We've lost people to hurricanes. Let's not be so arrogant when it comes to this stuff. People have things that they lose, including lives. People have lost family members. Let's be a bit more conscious about this and realize that what we for today might not be what we really want when we receive it tomorrow. All right. Anything else for us, Maya?
I guess just closing out, I could just say the Bermuda Road Safety Council's monthly slogan is signal early. So just reminding people when you are on the roads, let people know that you're going to turn. Don't just hope. Don't just push the brakes. Use your indicators and, be aware while you're on the road. So that's a good way to close out for the day, I suppose.
Don't get me started, man. I'm on the high.
That annoys me.
Yeah. So I love you, Mason. Anyway, Maya, thank you so much. Thanks again to People's Pharmacy for making sure we can present this information to you. We'll see you tomorrow.
You'll see me tomorrow. Stay safe.
Right, folks. Appreciate you. Maya Palacio, folks. Folks, do not go anywhere. We've got Alexis Bean coming up. Big Girl Panties Podcast. Ladies, and gents. Sometimes we just need to tune in as well. Like yesterday, we talked about prostate.
Excuse me, Jamal.
Yeah?
You don't want to know what day it is?
Oh! Yes, I'm so days of the year. And Maya left already. What we got? I'm so sorry.
Today is International Literacy Day. In an age of enlightenment, technology, and modern living, it's amazing that it has been estimated that nearly 800 million adults worldwide lack even the most basic literacy skills. International Literacy Day aims to highlight the importance and value of literacy education for individuals and groups, as well as providing benefits for a wider global culture.
Hold on. I'm being serious. You said 800 million?
800 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
and that's an important day. This is an important day. Folks,
yeah.
I'll be honest, Sancha, I did not become a reader until after graduate school.
Well, I was just going to say, folks in the audience, I'm looking for a new book to read. If you have picked up anything recently, give me some suggestions. I need a new book.
So. Folks, you heard her. Please. Any book suggestions? We'll put it up on our social media today. Any book suggestions for Sancha? Actually, all of us that we can read good books. I like to read business books for some reason. I'll be honest. My mom bought me books a lot when I was young. She figured I love sports. So she got me this kind of just reading, and reading was fun back then for me, but I didn't like reading growing up. I didn't begin reading books until graduate school into after, and I credit actually Tamara for really getting me into them. Tamara Richardson, she sent me The Alchemist. That was the first book I read after in graduate school that really got me into reading books. But folks, do not go anywhere. We've got Alexis Bean coming up. You heard Sancha put me in place. Excuse me, Jamal. Don't forget about me. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Welcome back to the big show, Central Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. If you haven't already, make sure you go to our website, Folks, you want to go to thedailyhour.com and subscribe right now. You don't want to miss a chance for updates, prizes, promotions, and more. And if you aren't already, you want to join the TDH community because they've got some great events coming up, some private shopping nights. You all are looking for lower prices for stuff. You're looking for a little deal here and there. You're looking to be more than just contribute with your words. Well, this is the community you want to be a part of. So go on our website, check it out. Also, if you're on the go and you can't watch us, you can still listen. Download the BCG Radio app, available for both Android and Apple devices. Sancha,
yeah,
you ready to bring in our guest?
I'm excited. Yes.
All right, Sancha's excited, folks. I feel for our guest, so she
I am.
might hug you a lot, virtually hug you. But let's bring in Alexis Bean, Big Girl Panties. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. You have me blushing before I even jump on.
No problem. Thank you. Real quick question, very off topic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not off topic, part of the discussion. Sancha's looking for a book. Do you have any recommendations for her?
I need another good book as well. So let me, what is the last book that I just, you know what book I really love? Mm-hmm. I read for fiction, I read The Midnight Library. That's a really good book. I really loved that. And then for nonfiction, I just finished reading Viola Davis's book. I cried a few times and I wrote a lot of notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may be it.
Yeah.
All right, the audience has said Black Cake is an excellent book and Mission Impossible. So we've got a few suggestions, folks. Any books, please let us know. But let's get into the conversation with our homie, our sister, our friend, Big Girl Panties Podcast. We've got Alexis Bean. Speak to us. What is the Big Girl Panties Podcast about, and where did the idea come from?
So Big Girl Panties Podcast is a podcast, is a platform, a wellness and lifestyle platform about blending uncomfortable, forgotten, displaced conversations about grief, about loss, about trauma, and blending conversations like that and subjects like that with the everyday conversations that we have about wellness and lifestyle. Because I feel that it's important to blend those things together because they're all a part of life. Mm-hmm. And doing that makes it less taboo, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And the idea of the podcast came from my life. The idea of the brand in itself is a reflection of my life. When I was 17, about to turn 18, my mom suddenly died. It was stage 4 brain cancer. Mm-hmm. And then at 23 years old, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So I've been through my fair share of trauma. I've felt loss. And so Big Girl Panties was started essentially as a tool to help me heal and share that with the masses, and with the idea that I felt that other people had stuff that they also went through and that we need to come together and create a community of sorts.
Awesome. And wow, I just the strength based on those two things that you mentioned, losing your mom at a young age and being, receiving a diagnosis. It's wow. I'm inspired already, right? But everyone seems to have a podcast these days. You have people just popping up everywhere. What makes your podcast? You just explained honestly what makes it unique. But what are some things that to an audience that may not be into podcasts, may not know how to find podcasts, what makes it so unique that where people would say, you know what, like a book, I need to tune into this. They have a new episode coming up.
So for myself, I feel number one, what makes any podcast unique, what makes my podcast unique is that I host it. It's my podcast. So any podcast is going to have an individual flair to it. But also I think personally, I think that I'm able to speak with women and relate to people and have them feel comfortable to open up to me and share with me, and also be surprised at themselves at the way that they feel after they've shared something so personal about their lives. And I think that we're just able to have organic conversations and have things not feel so forced. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what draws people to the podcast, because some of this stuff is difficult. Some of this stuff is tough. Some of our subjects, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to talk about that. But with Big Girl Panties, we're able to make people feel comfortable and relaxed, and make sure that we do talk about these things because they are important, because they're here, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So in your podcast, what are some of the topics that are covered?
So my initial 2 episodes for the podcast, I just share my story. So I'm talking about the loss of my mother and what that was like, and getting a chronic illness diagnosis. But with some of my other guests, we've talked about adoption, what it's like to be adopted as a baby, as a teenager. We've talked about wellness entrepreneurship, so women who go through their own trials and give back to the community through their products that they sell. Different chronic illnesses, domestic violence, losing a loved one by way of death, mental health, sleep deprivation. And we do this by speaking to women who have experienced this themselves, but also subject experts as well, who can give their perspective and their advice.
Is it a certain demographic of women that you cater to? Like, do you have a certain age group, demographic?
So, when I started Big Girl Panties and when I started the podcast, I was targeting millennial women, and because that's my peer group. And I still feel that that's my sweet spot, and I try to invite women within my age bracket. But at this point, because of the subject matter, this affects all women, regardless of your age. So I have guests on who are not millennial women, who are in a generation above me, and I would love to have more Gen Z guests on the show as well. So I want to open that up. I want to dispel any misconceptions that it's for all women. Men as well like to tune in, and it's for them as well. But yeah, my target is women.
I went onto the YouTube channel. I researched your website, and I have been through traumatic experiences. And there was nothing like this for me during that time. Like, I felt very alone. So when I went to the website, and as I was watching the YouTube channel, I was like, it gave me so much hope for women. And it also, I felt, I'm like, why wasn't this around for me? Because I definitely searched. So I'm happy for what you're doing. I also watched your YouTube channel. There was an episode where you had 3 women write about what they had been through. You mixed it up. They read each other's letters, and then they had to write a response to it. It was so touching, like tears. What does this exercise, what does the exercise like this do for these women, and like, what do they get out of it? What's the goal?
So I think initially the exercise is for people to share what it is that they've gone through. And I think that it's a lot easier for someone to write, to note down what it is that they've gone through and speak honestly about that, without fear of judgment, without being nervous. People don't like to speak in public places, or, they don't like to revisit their trauma or what they've gone through like that. So by doing a letter, it takes the pressure off. And then I just told each of the women, write a response to this other person's letter. And again, you show up as your genuine self. You genuinely want to help that person, let that person know that they are seen, let that person know that they are supported. And so by allowing these women to, in the end, read aloud for themselves what someone is saying to them, it's so powerful, because I think that it brings healing. It brings a release that not necessarily that you wanted to do, but that you needed. So I thought that it was so powerful that day. And yeah, every time that I watch it, I tear up as well, because I know that it was powerful. I know that it meant something.
Yeah. It was also really cool just to see, those women probably didn't even go there expecting a new network of women. Exactly. That they don't even share their experiences, but they were able to learn about what they had been through. And, they're taking the time to actually study and get to know. And it opens up like a whole new family of people, which was great for me. I'm like, this is so awesome.
It does. It's a sisterhood.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved how everybody kind of addressed each other. My
BGP sister. Yeah.
Yes, I loved it. With that being said, how important do you feel it is for women to start the healing process after experiencing trauma and grief?
It's so important. It's so important. And I feel like I learned this, unfortunately, after I had already gone through, some pretty big traumatic experiences in my life. But because of what I went through, I think, well, first, let me say, I went through the loss of my mother blindly because no one expected that. I was young, a late teenager. But then after my MS diagnosis, and I could feel the gravity of how alone I felt in that. Because when my mom died, a lot of people within my family and within the community felt that loss. But within my MS diagnosis, other people felt bad for me, but I was the only person going through that. So I felt that sheer amount of loneliness, and I realized the gravity of how important it is to not hold on to your loss by yourself, because it's so lonely, and it will show up in your life in different ways. One thing about grief, whether you try and suppress it or not, like, it's going to show up regardless. So I thoroughly encourage people to go through that process and face it and not be fearful of it. We can be fearful, but still go through that process, because it's going to show up in one way or another. And the hope is for you to go through that process in a healthy way, so that you don't have other impacts, like physical impacts or emotional impacts afterwards.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
We have, if you have any comments or questions for Alexis, please shoot through. We have Jody Virgil. She says, good morning, all. Big Girl Panties is an amazing podcast. Thank you, Alexis, for sharing yourself and encouraging others. It's a reminder that we are not alone. It's easy to talk about this stuff, but I think to actually put yourself out there is no easy task.
No.
We had Elroy Smith on, radio programmer, Bermudian, who's done great things, and he just spoke about what he used to tell his host. You actually did it to a T, right? But he actually said, Doug Banks, he's now passed, but he used him as an example that when Doug Banks was diagnosed with diabetes, how he encouraged Doug Banks to go on the air and speak to his audience about it, right? And when you speak to them, they relate to you, because now they're calling up and they're like, I didn't realize someone else is going through the same thing as me. That more people were relating to him and now tuning in because they said, this guy's just like me. How important, and again, that's a radio legend telling a radio legend, just be yourself. How important do you think that is to the authenticity of what you're doing?
It's so important. It's so important. When I started the podcast, the brand in and of itself, I felt that sheer and like deep need to be authentic, be real, because these feelings of grief, these feelings of loneliness, they were so strong, and excuse me, and I so badly wanted that healing. And I think with the podcast, with the platform, my goal wasn't to find healing for myself. My goal was to find community. And so whether it's, you're dramatic like me and go for a community of the masses, or reach out to a trusted friend or a few trusted people, it's so important to share. It's so important to share, because you're releasing some of that pain that you're hanging on to. Not to say that you're releasing the love that's tied to a person or what you're grieving over, if it's grief, but you're releasing some of that pain. And it's so necessary to show up as yourself.
With Bermuda being such a small community, right? When we're grieving and we have these traumatic experiences, a lot of times we don't want people to know, right? And we want to avoid that judgment of someone judging me. How do you get around that? How do you get people to open up to be like, I'm in this small community, so-and-so is going to judge me. How do we get around that and actually trust in the support?
I think for a lot of people, because I can't speak for myself, because not everyone is like me where you want to openly speak about your struggles, or you want to speak about the things that you've gone through. But I think that with other people who may want to speak to me or think in the back of their mind, like, hey, I should speak to somebody, I think that we just need to be available and have that place where people feel safe to come to you and share. And that is what Big Girl Panties is, essentially. It's about providing that safe space, a safe place for people to come and say, hey, I have community here. I can trust Alexis, and I can trust this community to share what's on my heart and what I've gone through.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how does one reach out to you to begin to get the support from Big Girl Panties? And is that your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is yes, for Big Girl Panties, is to provide a safe space for women to feel seen. A safe space for women to feel seen. And I feel like the goals of Big Girl Panties have kind of shifted over the last couple of years because of the pandemic. I will say, like, at the start of the pandemic, right before the start of the pandemic, I was starting to offer these groups for grief recovery, and we really did start some awesome things within ourselves, within our community space. But because I'm not a grief counselor, I'm not a therapist or anything certified like that. I don't pretend like I am. And the goal of Big Girl Panties is to provide that support through community. And so it's been difficult for people to get together physically. And I have tried to offer that online via Zoom, but I feel that a lot of people, they don't necessarily feel comfortable doing that. But I'm available, and I would love to do that if people would love to engage that way. But if people want to come to me for support personally, if they have questions about loss and how I got through certain things, I'm always available. So people can reach out to me on Instagram at BGP Life. You can send me an email, info@bgplife.com, on Facebook at BGP Life blog, or my website, bgplife.com. I'm available. I'm here for support. And if you would like to come on the show, be a guest on Big Girl Panties Podcast, I'm here for that as well.
Alrighty. One last question from the audience. Mark Arthur C. Phillips asking, was there a major learning curve with starting a podcast?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a major learning curve. I think with anything creative, anything entrepreneurial, anything new, really, there's a big learning curve. So I would just suggest anyone who wants to do that, do your research. I'm constantly researching about podcasting, which platforms are best to use, which services. I really encourage people to be, whether it's podcasting or whatever it is, to join Facebook communities or some kind of online communities where there's like-minded people. So the same thing that Big Girl Panties tries to offer on Instagram and with the podcast, find your community with whatever it is that you're interested in, and keep learning. And I'm still learning. This learning curve is huge. And so that's one thing that I try and remind myself, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Like, the learning curve will always be steep. Just keep going.
Indeed. Alexis Bean, Big Girl Panties Podcast, thank you so much. This has been, as Sancho will probably tell you, I'm usually not this quiet and observant, but I was very interested in everything you were saying. And that's not to say I'm not interested in other guests, but sometimes it's better to just listen and digest what's being said, especially, I'm, as a male, it's not really targeting me, but that doesn't mean that I can't learn from it. So I appreciate you trusting our platform to come on and have this conversation, and definitely want to include you in some of the things that we're doing, because, this show exists to empower people. And so I think collaboration and ways forward and improving our community with people like yourself is the way to go. So thank you, folks. Please reach out. I like the term you kept using. This is about community, right? That's why we exist. This is why we do these things. So thank you again. Please keep in touch with us. Stay in touch, and let's do this again.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you both for having me. I would love to join you again. And yes, thanks again.
All right, Alexis Bean, have a great day.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
All right, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations. I say it all the time. I talk. I'm not a journalist. Like she said, she's not a professional therapist, but she is there to give support and offer support.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
It's necessary.
Absolutely.
It's necessary.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break while you show love. Make sure you share these episodes with your friends, family. There's WhatsApp groups as well. Quick break. We'll come back with the Daily Play. They've been on a roll lately, folks, but I think we got a stump today, and we'll wrap it up with today's. I'll pick one.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to Alexis Bean. Really appreciate the conversation. As stated, folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations, important, especially with young women in Bermuda who may be going through things. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and lenders for their support. It's time for the Daily Play. Brought to you by Heineken 0.0 Great Alcohol and Bermuda Trivia, now available throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sandra, are you ready?
Eyes are closed. I'm ready.
All right. Gotta let me start the music today. All right, here we go.
Okay.
It's a name that place today.
Okay.
Very easy, folks. Help her out if she doesn't know. Hold on, let me get my music ready. What is the capital city of Egypt?
Cairo?
Shucks.
Jamal, you said you were going to make it hard.
I was trying to trick you. Shade. Everybody got it. I was trying to trick you. I was trying to send you, but
That's I'm like, is this a trick? Okay.
Congratulations, Sandra. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. I tried, folks. I tried. I try to lead her that way, but
I would have been almost embarrassed if I didn't get that.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I'm proud that I got to play the music. I'm proud I got to play the music.
But I let you. I was like, okay, because I don't need things to get any worse. Because I'm already. I get a little nervous every time this part of the morning comes around. So I'm like, let him play the music, because if it gets any harder, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
We've got Valerie Lister Bassett saying, listening from Israel. Thank you. We appreciate you so much. Karen Simmons, thank you, Alexis, for sharing. This is my mantra, having my community of women supporting each other and put on the big girl panties. Yes, absolutely.
I'm happy I found them. Like I hadn't heard of them, and I'm happy.
Manuela John says, what did I think you would say? London. That's what I thought she would say. No. I was thinking she wouldn't say anything. I thought she would be so confused as if it was
I'll be stumped.
I thought she thought it would be a trick question, folks. Right? So because
and I do that.
Right. She you've seen her. She freezes up. You know,
yeah,
like,
I had the answer in my head, but I'm like, this can't be the answer because it doesn't. So I don't say anything, and I'm like, yeah.
But they roll
just playing with my emotions, guys.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on today's discussion and our guests, Sandra?
Today's discussion, Jamal, I have become exhausted, and this is like genuinely speaking, I have become exhausted with politics in Bermuda and what's going on. And I know that if I begin to be defeated or feel defeated, as many people are probably feeling right now, it's not going to get better. And I know I have to rein it in and kind of have like a reset button, but I've become exhausted with the antics, you know, but we have to find within us, we have to find a way in order to say, okay, let's pull together and make this better. Like we can't be exhausted, but I am.
No, I get it.
And yeah, there has to be, we need to start questioning. You can't just pop up right before a conference, a delegate conference, and say, I'm changing the rules. How, if this is true, if it's true, how do we do that? What does that say for you morally? You know what you're trying to achieve. Once again, if this is true.
You said morally.
And I like to feel as if you know, our leaders have some sort of integrity. Jamal, listen. You have an out, okay? I saw a message yesterday saying that you have your U.S. passport.
Yeah. Hey, look, I know people are taking like 3, 5, 6 months to get Bermuda passports. Got mine within a month. But go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
So it's, you know, we need some leaders that can lead with integrity, and we're in a bad space.
Yeah.
We need to find our way out of this.
How about the better part of the show?
Yes. Alexis, like I said, I have been through, it's been years now, and I still find it very hard to talk about, but I've been through trauma. It's been difficult for me. And I did get to a point where it was coming out in other ways because I was suppressing it and just acting like I was okay. And I had a lot of, oh my gosh, like you're amazing, you're handling this well. But only my family understanding what I was really feeling inside. So because those are the only people I talk to. So to have or to see a network like this, like I'm about to tear up, but to see a network like this of women where we can support each other and we're able to talk about this and have, you know, and have people that have been through like things, and even if they haven't been through it, but been through some sort of trauma, whereas we can support each other. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah. Certain things need to exist. As it relates to the discussion, you know, folks, when we ask certain questions, my hope is that we understand the purpose of this show is to go beyond the surface, go deeper than we normally go. And the truth is, to get what we want, true democracy, we're going to have to give up what we have. And I completely understand why people don't want to give up what we have, because we really trust those who are will be in charge of what we want. So, and I'm talking about government and independence. So there is another way. I just don't like the idea saying, well, this is what the system is because we're not independent. No, just because something's this way doesn't mean it needs to remain. But if we're so concerned about the government we have that's our concern of going independent, then we need to remove them in the current system that we have. As far as Alexis, like I said, you know, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate her trust in this platform, and I appreciate what she's doing, because as Sandra just said, we need more movements. I call it a movement. We need more movements like that, of women offering spaces for other women and people offering other spaces for other people. We're human beings. We need these spaces. You've got some daily inspiration for us, Sancha?
I do, Jamal. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved.
Love it. Who's that?
Helen Keller.
Oh, she was blind and deaf, right?
Yes.
See, I remember reading about her when I was young, talking about books. Folks, don't forget for some books to read. We'll put up a post. Don't forget to share. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sancha Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great day. We're out.